Good evening. I'm going to try to be as brief as possible. I know you're all waiting for the main event, but I think I'll try to do what I'm supposed to do. Members of the New Generation Club, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to be among you here this evening in support of children in our homeland. This gala dinner would not have been possible without the tireless efforts of Dr. Farha and the committee members of the New Generation Club and the support of the renowned singer Mu'in Shraif. First, I must admit that when I was asked to be the speaker at this event, I was a bit reluctant, as it's very difficult to think that I can fill in the shoes of last year's speaker, His Eminence the late Metropolitan Philip Saliba, Archbishop of New York and Metropolitan of all of North America. However, when I recalled that Metropolitan Philip never shied away from any challenge, including expressing openly his views on divisive political issues, whether we agree with his views or not, I realized that he wouldn't have wanted me to hesitate. Our loss of Metropolitan Philip will hopefully be soon compensated with the upcoming enthronement of the new shepherd, Metropolitan Joseph. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight I want to tell you a little bit about the many challenges, recent challenges and other long-standing that our country, Lebanon, is facing. I thought this will help you realize how much giving back to our communities back home is important at this stage. Lebanon nowadays finds itself in the middle of a turbulent region and is threatened by a fierce terrorist onslaught carried out by terrorist and criminal groups that have attacked various Lebanese regions and caused the loss of military and civilian lives, in addition to considerable material damage. Only a couple of months ago, the terrorists kidnapped a number of our soldiers and police officers, and in order to pressure and blackmail the authorities. They later executed 3 of them in a monstrous manner that we all witnessed. Just a few days ago, terror once again tried to hijack parts of Tripoli and Akkar. However, the resolve and the sacrifices of our armed forces, backed by the clear and unwavering support of the Lebanese people in Tripoli and in Akkar, managed to deal with that threat. In their battle against terrorism, the Lebanese people stand united with the armed forces, which represent the main pillar of the safeguard of our national sovereignty, security, and peace. Lebanon is striving to rally the support needed by these forces to fulfill their duty. In this regard, we value and support we get from the United States to the Lebanese armed forces, as well as the generous donations extended by other countries, like Saudi Arabia and many other countries within the initiatives of the International Support Group. Our fight against terrorism is not new. We still recall the terrorist attacks that targeted Beirut and its suburbs and Tripoli last year. We still remember Nahr al-Bared and the terrorism of political crimes that have targeted many of our leaders, including Prime Minister Hariri. Ladies and gentlemen, another recent challenge that Lebanon is facing are the events unfolding in vast areas of Syria and in Iraq. We are all witnessing human crimes which cannot be understood nor accepted by any mind or religion. Crimes perpetrated in the name of Islam that have cost lives of tens of thousands of Muslim civilians and caused waves of unprecedented displacement of people. We have all witnessed the attacks against the religious groups like Christians and Yazidis, groups that have always been an essential component in the social fabric of our region, its Arabic identity, and a fundamental part of its social and cultural diversity. The distressing war in Syria has driven to Lebanon nearly 1.5 million displaced Syrians and over 50,000 Palestinian refugees from the Yarmouk camp in Damascus, in addition to thousands from Iraq, This number is equivalent to 1/3 of the Lebanese population. To be fully aware of the implications of this situation, one should imagine 100 million people, yes, 100 million people, flocking massively into the United States and spreading randomly in cities, towns, schools, and parks, with the related urgent needs and requirements, posing an unbearable burden on the economic, humanitarian, social, educational, health, and security levels. This huge number of displaced people is weighing enormously on the Lebanese infrastructure that is already suffering from structural problems. It is putting pressure on the national economy, where growth has dropped to almost zero due to the regional situation, which has caused the loss of almost $7.5 billion, according to the World Bank estimates. This reality is for us a national disaster. The problem of the displaced Syrians, with all its serious economic, social, and security implications, is not and should not be a purely Lebanese problem. It is a major regional crisis that should be shouldered by the whole international community. Just to give you a sense of the figures of what's going on in Lebanon now. Nowadays, we have almost 450,000 Syrian kids who are eligible for public schooling in Lebanon. Just to give you an idea also, the cost of a kid in a public school in Lebanon is almost $10,000 a year, which is a little bit more than what a child would cost in the US. And I know it sounds weird, but the average cost in the US is $8,000. But facing these challenges, whether it's education, whether it's health services, we only have the choice and the moral obligation to serve all the civilians who are in Lebanon nowadays. And anyhow, in the long run, I think we have to be clear that the cost of education, even if it's high, it remains relatively less than the cost of ignorance. Ladies and gentlemen, the constitutional milestones that we have missed, constitute another challenge to our political system and the investment climate necessary for economic growth. Lebanon is the only country in the Arab world and in the Islamic world where the President of the Republic is a Christian citizen. This confirms that our country, despite its political crises, was and still is a paragon of diversity in the Middle East, an exceptional pattern of coexistence and interaction between believers of different religions and sects. Unfortunately, we have yet to elect a new president. The United States is a democracy that elects a representative government, just as Lebanon is a democracy that has, and before many other countries in the region, produced different heads of state, governments, and local authorities through successive elections. Unfortunately, again, we have yet to hold the postponed parliamentary elections of 2013. Ladies and gentlemen, least but not least is the long-standing challenge of the Israeli occupation of the remaining parts of our land and the continuous Israeli plots against our territorial waters and exclusive economic zone. Dear fellow Lebanese, and I would say also fellow Arabs, I guess, you are immigrants and the children of generations of immigrants that have contributed and contribute and continue to contribute to the future of this country while staying faithful and proud to your heritage. You embody everything that is boundless about Lebanese entrepreneurship and the American dream of a better life. You represent a part of why this nation is great, a nation of immigrants that attracts the best from all over the world. There's no greater joy than the joy we get from giving to those in need, and those in need whom we don't even know. I hope that you're going to be joyful tonight. Thank you very much for having me.